So part 2, we are about to head out to Animal Kingdom. And then maybe back to Hollywood Studios.
Yes.
And Julie's putting on her Lion King ears.
I had them on earlier.
Yeah, time to get going. We're rested. We changed. We showered. We're good. Florida heat is incredibly, ridiculously hot.
Tennessee's humid, but Florida is like
Oh my God.
a whole nother level.
Yeah, I had to change shirts. You could wring mine out.
Mine wasn't that bad, surprisingly, but
Mine was.
I felt like I needed to change.
Oh. Alrighty, guys. We're going to head to Animal Kingdom now.
She's loving it.
Alright, 30 minutes later, and the rain has let up enough for us to at least try to make it to the bus. So that's where we're going now.
So we just got to Animal Kingdom. There's a lot of people leaving. So we're gonna see what we can see here real quick and then try to... Oh, sorry. And try to make our way to Hollywood Studios. So I'm hoping, because it's still thundering. I haven't seen any more lightning, but it's been thundering, so we'll see.
Oh yeah, it's too dark for me, buddy. What up, buddy?
They said, feed us. So Josh was saying that this park reminds him a lot of Knoxville Zoo, and I would totally agree with that. It's kind of laid out just like that. It's really cool though. So we're gonna wander around, see what we can do. I'd like to at least get on a safari. Other than that, I don't know what we'll do.
I'm just looking around. Find Kevin.
Oh yeah, we gotta find Kevin.
Stops I make and any children lap sitting, please don't hold them up, as they are not Simba and this is not the Lion King. Now, as you can tell, it is pretty bumpy out there. If you do have any phones or cameras in hand, make sure you are holding on to them tightly. We wouldn't want them falling out. But if you do find anything fall out of the truck, don't worry, just let me know. We will try our very best to get it back for you. Now, right above you, you do have some animal spotting guides. Those guides will help you identify any animals we might see out here today. And that's also a reminder that we are visitors in these animals' homes. We want to be as respectful as possible to them. So please don't call out, whistle, clapper them, or try and get their attention. It does scare them, and we don't want to do that. But our first stop here is the Little Aturi Forest. This forest is home to a lot of animals who are a bit more shy. We do have the saddle-billed stork there to the left. It's that beautiful bird hanging out there. We also have some okapi there to the right. Now, the okapi looks like it's wearing some zebra pants. That leads many to believe that they are related to the zebra, but they're actually not even a little bit. They are the closest known relative to the giraffe. That is because of their prehensile tongue that they use to grab their food, and also because of their skeletal head shape. Now, if you got a chance to visit the Gorilla Falls Exploration Trail before they closed, it's right next door to our safari. They do have that skeletal head shape of the okapi and one of a giraffe. And you can see how similar those two actually are. Now, it does look like we have a couple more friends up ahead we can say hello to. Now, to that very far left, you'll see one of those black rhinos hanging out over there. But there is one a little bit closer to us up on this hill. We can make a quick little stop to say hello to them. Now, the rhinos you see here are one of the smaller rhinos here on the reserve. They weigh up to about 3,000 pounds, and they have this U-shaped mouth. It's what we consider prehensile, which means it's just able to grab something, get a good grip on it. And to the left, or the right there, that auburn colored animal, there's also one up ahead. Those are called bongos, and the grayer colored ones, those are called greater kudu. Now, both of these animals, you can see they have stripes on their bodies. Those stripes help them camouflage a bit better, because camouflage is one of their main mechanisms of defense. Now, that bongo there, both male and females will have horns on their head. And those horns, as you can see, lean backwards so that they don't get caught on anything as they're running through the forest here. And the greater kudu will also have horns, but only if they are male, so we know that those there are female. And their horns can reach about 6 feet in length. Now, the bongos, the auburn brown colored ones, those are also sometimes nicknamed the ghosts of the forest, and that's because they don't really come out a lot. They weren't discovered until about the early 1900s, so we haven't known about them for very long, but it is really nice when we do get to see them or get to say hello to them. But right now we are in the Safi River, and the Safi River is home to a lot of animals who like to hang out near the water, such as those pink-backed pelicans there, and also those Nile hippopotamus that are kind of hanging out back there. You can't stop here, but I will try and go as slow as I can. Sometimes they like to hang out on the left side of the river as well, so we might be able to see a couple more. But the pink-backed pelicans you saw there, they get their name from the pink feathers under their wings, and as they approach mating season, you will see them get brighter and brighter. Now, their wingspan reaches about 9 feet wide, which is just about as wide as that canopy above your head. And they're also what we call communal nesters, so they nest in pairs of up to about 150. But here on the left, we have a couple more of those hippos there. They like to spend their time in the water like this. They're not always swimming around. Sometimes they are just submerged there. But they can hold their breath about 8 minutes at a time. Now, that's even true in their sleep. It is just a natural instinct for them to come up for air. Now, those hippos that you see there, they can grow to be about 5,500 pounds, which is pretty big. And when they are born, their babies are already at about 80 to 85 pounds, which is also the amount of food they eat every single day. It's a nice little coincidence. As you go over this bridge to your left, you're going to see a couple of Nile crocodiles. Now, the Nile crocodiles can grow to be about 20 feet in length. And sometimes on very hot days, you'll see them hanging out here on the rocks with their mouths open. That is just how they cool off, because they don't have any sweat glands. And in order to release any of that body heat, they will do so through their mouths. Now, their jaws are incredibly strong, but they are also quite gentle with them. Both male and female crocodiles will roll their eggs back and forth in their mouth to help nurture the eggs and help them hatch a little bit quicker. And in any present danger, mothers also sometimes have babies jump into their mouths so that they can be transported quicker, because their little legs are very small. They can't run as fast as they can. As we go over this hill here, we are about to enter one of the largest ecosystems here on the reserve. You might recognize a lot more animals out here on the savannah, but once again, if you do need some help, you do have that animal spotting guide. Now, as we wait for our friends to go down this hill here, we are going to make a quick little stop next to this tree here on your right. That is called a baobab tree. And the baobab tree is also nicknamed the tree of life and the upside down tree. It gets that name because it does look like its roots are coming out from the top. But during the drier seasons, when a lot of the water source on the ground dries up, animals like to use the baobab tree as a temporary source, or sometimes just even a second source of water, because it can hold about 32,000 gallons of water at once. And the bark just works like a sponge, so whenever an animal does need a sip or two, I'll just peel off a bit of that bark, suck the water out of it, make sure they are staying hydrated even on days like today, where it is a bit cooler and rainier, which is what we should all be doing. Make sure you are drinking your water. And if you didn't already know, any quick service location here on Disney property will give you a free little red cup of water if you ask for it. So if you find yourself feeling a bit parched, just head to the nearest quick service location. But we are now in the savannah, and the first animal we'll say hello to are these Ankole cattle here. And the Ankole cattle is one of the domesticated animals here on the reserve. They were used to show wealth by farmers in South Africa. So the more you had, the wealthier you were. And the horns on their head do look very big and very heavy, but they're actually quite nearly hollow. They don't have anything inside them except for this honeycomb-like structure. It helps them circulate blood and helps keep everything nice and regulated. As you can tell, the savannah is very open, very wide. It's home to some larger friends who need a lot more space to kind of roam around. And this is just a small fraction of the savannah. It covers a lot of our reserve, so don't worry if you can't see any animals now. They might be hiding out somewhere on the other side of the savannah. But you'll notice that these mounds here are all across the savannah. Those are called termite mounds, and termite mounds are used kind of like a scratching post. So animals will come up to them, they'll kind of rub their backs against them. It's how they reach that one itch they can't. Now, it does look like we have a couple of friends up ahead. You might see a couple of wildebeest around. That is a confusion of wildebeest there. No, I'm not lying to you. A group of wildebeest is called a confusion. And when they run, we like to say that they run blind. But we don't really mean that they can't see or that they run with their eyes closed. It just means they have kind of like a tunnel vision. So they're not really thinking about where they're running. They're just following the person in front of them. And unless that person stops, they're not going to stop. They are just going to keep going. But right next to those wildebeest, you'll see this small animal there. I get very excited when they're out because they are my favorite animal here on the reserve. Those are called springbok. They look like adorable little s'mores. And they are small, but they are mighty. They run about 60 miles an hour, sometimes outrunning a cheetah. They can also jump as high as 6 feet and out 13 feet. And when they do this at the same time, it's called a pronk. So sometimes they are just out here pronking across the savannah. But they're quite adorable. I love them. And they're not always out, so I don't always get to talk about them. You can get a closer look at those wildebeest. They're also sometimes referred to as gnu. It's spelled GNU, but it's based off of the sound they make. Now it looks like we're about to pass by some of our taller friends up here. And our larger friend as well. So up ahead on your left, you're going to see two animals. You're going to see those Maasai giraffes, which you might recognize, but you're also going to see an eland. It's this very large antelope. It's the largest antelope on our reserve. And they have these spiral horns, and one thing I like to tell people about them is that when males are trying to impress a potential mate, they will roll those horns around in the grass, and they will pick up any flowers, make little flower crowns on their horns, make sure they look nice and pretty.
Uh-oh. Whoops.
Now there on the left, we have this tower of Maasai giraffes, and yes, that is what a group of giraffes is called, a tower. And when they are born, they are already at 6 feet tall, which is great for nurturing purposes. But if they do need some help reaching those taller branches, they have that prehensile tongue that I talked about with the okapi. You might see that one over there. You can see his tongue kind of sticking out. But that tongue can grow to be about 18 inches long, 1.5 feet, which is just about the length of your forearm. So right about your elbow to where your fingertips are. And most of the time when you see those giraffes, they are going to be eating. And that's because they have such a high metabolism that they spend about 20 hours of their day eating, and they only really need about 30 minutes of sleep. Now here, this area is home to some of our larger friends. As you can see, we do have that African elephant there on the right. Sometimes we have a couple of mandrill monkeys here on the left. They like to hang out on the other side of that hill, but it looks like they're not out right now. But this elephant that you see there, it gets its name from the shape of its ears. It is the shape of the continent of Africa. And you'll see that that one is flapping them back and forth. That is how they cool off. It's like their own personal built-in fan. But it also helps release any body heat that might be trapped under their ears. Now this one is hanging out alone here. So it's safe to say that it's a male. It's probably a younger male because it's not that big. Male elephants can grow to be about 10 to 13 feet, while females get to about 8 to 10. But male elephants are usually by themselves, just like that black rhino we saw in the forest. They do enjoy their own personal space and they like being alone. But sometimes they do hang out with other male elephants. We call this a bachelor herds. But at the end of the day, they really just do like being by themselves. Coming up, we are about to pass by some red clay pits. The red clay you're going to see has lots of minerals in it, and elephants like to use it as kind of like a daily vitamin. So they'll eat it or they'll just run their tusks through it. I do see some tusk marks up ahead. That's a good sign that some elephants might be nearby. But elephants also have really sensitive skin, and they want to make sure that skin is protected from any bugs or the harsh sun. So they will throw that red clay on their backs. Now, if there is no red clay around, they're going to do this with regular dirt. They just want to make sure they have something shielding them from all these elements. You can see a couple of these elephants here. We're going to be able to see them a bit closer up ahead, but also you're going to be able to see a couple more of the baobab trees if you didn't get a good look at the one on the overlook. Now, if these trees look a little familiar, it's because the Tree of Life out in Discovery Island is actually a baobab tree. And that one does have leaves on it, but these trees, most of the time when you see them, they're not going to have any leaves. And that's because they go leafless 9 to 10 months out of the year. But here you can see those beautiful elephants. You can see their tusks there. Their tusks are made of ivory, and unfortunately they are still being poached for the ivory in their tusks, and I don't think anyone here is in the market for ivory, but the US is still one of the top ivory importers in the world, so it's a good reminder to us to be mindful of what is in the products we're using, because we don't want to buy anything that promotes harming these animals. Now, coming up on your left, you're going to see a couple of our friends who are a bit more colorful. These are greater flamingos. Greater flamingos are the larger kinds of flamingos here at Animal Kingdom. We also have lesser flamingos. They're going to be out by Discovery Islands. If you'd like to say hello to them as you're passing by or on your way out, they should be there. But they get their color from their diet. It's mostly this tiny brine shrimp that they eat. It does take them about 2 years for them to fully develop that pink color though, so sometimes you might see them looking a little gray at adult size, but it's not because they are sad, it's just because they haven't fully gotten that color yet. But also coming up past these rocks, there is an opening to the left in between some branches. I like to tell people about it because sometimes when you're on a safari, a lot of elephants like to hang out on this side of the yard if they're not over by where we saw them. So sometimes you'll see one or two just hanging out nearby. It's a nice little secret I like to share with people so that they can look out for some elephants next time you are on our safari. But we are still in the savannah. We are now in East Savannah, and the first thing you might notice is that mud wallow there to the left. So that's a good sign that some white rhinos might be nearby, because like elephants, these white rhinos have pretty sensitive skin. They want to protect it as well. So they will roll around in that mud wallow, make sure they are all nice and covered, especially on hot days because it also gives off a bit of a cooling effect. Now they are pretty big. They might be around here somewhere, but they are still really good at hiding. Sometimes they'll just hide under a bush and take a nice nap. Or sometimes they are just out here running around. But as we search for those rhinos, we are also going to say hello to these cheetahs that are hanging out there on the left side of the hill. You can see their beautiful spots there. But those cheetahs that you see there are the fastest land animal in the world. That tail of theirs that you see them waving around, it is long and slick. It helps them turn quickly while they're running. Now, they can run really fast, but they can't run for very long. Now, they can only run about the length of a football field before they get pretty tired out. But they also have what I like to call built-in sunglasses. It's these black lines that come down from their eyes onto their cheeks, and it helps keep the sun out of their eyes. It's similar to the eye black makeup that some baseball players wear when they are out on the field. It helps shield the sun from their eyes. But these cheetahs are born with it. They don't have to reapply that makeup every 10 minutes once they've sweated off. Now we are approaching this formation of rocks here. It's called a kopje. And right next to the kopje we have a water buck. And it's really nice to see those water bucks because they don't come out a lot. When it rains, they love it because like their name suggests, they like being around water. And they release this oil from their skin that helps them be a little bit waterproof. So they spend more time near the water without being completely drenched. And if you look at their noses, hopefully we are able to see a couple more nearby, but if you look at their noses, they're shaped like hearts and they're absolutely adorable. Maybe you can see this one here. But like I was saying about that kopje, it's used by predators to get a better view of the savannah. It looks like some of those predators are out here right now. But it gives them a higher vantage point. They don't have to do as much searching on the ground as they do actually catching. Now, if you have any cats back home, you know how much they love to sleep. And these lions here are no different. They are still part of the feline family. And they spend about 16 to 20 hours of their day either sleeping or resting. That's because they like to do their hunting at night. Now the female lion will actually do the hunting at night while males stay back to protect the pride, because other lion prides will sometimes try and take over, so they have to stand guard and make sure they are all safe, especially those young ones. But it looks like there are a couple of white rhinos up ahead. These white rhinos are the larger kinds of rhinos. They're bigger than that black rhino we saw. And they're also a lot less solitary, so they are going to be together. Chances are if you see one or two, you might see a couple more. But despite their large size, they still run pretty fast. They can run about 35 miles an hour, but they can only see about 10 feet in front of them. So if you do see one running towards you, it's best to just move out of the way because chances are they won't really see you until they probably already made contact. But they do have incredibly good hearing though. It does make up for that eyesight and it helps them be aware of their surroundings because they can hear everything. But they like to run around here across the savannah. A lot of us refer to them as stronger golden retrievers, but they're so cute. We do love them. And there on the right, you'll see a couple of those ostrich eggs hanging out there. Now, I'm sure the ostrich are somewhere around here, but if you've seen an ostrich before, you know how big they are, so it makes sense that their eggs are also really big. They can grow to be about the size of a football, and they are equivalent to about 24 regular chicken eggs, but they have a much stronger shell, so they can withstand the weight of someone standing on it without it cracking. Of course, they do have their limits, but all things considered, they are still really strong. But it looks like we are coming up on the warden's post here. The warden takes care of all the lovely animals on our reserve. We'll see if anyone is nearby. Oh, it looks like his Nigerian dwarf goats are watching the house for him. These goats you see here are one of the other domesticated animals here on the reserve, but unlike regular cattle and that cattle we saw there in the savannah, they take up a lot less space, so you don't have to cut down as many trees in order to give them the room that they need. They also have 4 stomachs, and those 4 stomachs help them digest any plants or weeds that other animals might have trouble digesting. So it is a win-win. They get all the free food they can eat out here, and the warden also gets free lawn care. They get rid of those pesky weeds and make sure their grass is nice and short. But if you are visiting us again, you can head out to Rafiki's Planet Watch next time you're here. They are closed right now, but they have this thing called the affection section. You can do your part by doing something as simple as recycling. Maybe even changing out any plastic water bottles for a reusable one, because if you didn't know, a plastic water bottle does take about 450 years to kind of break down. If you want to directly help these animals here at Animal Kingdom.
Alright, so we're done with Animal Kingdom. Kind of everything closed really early, about 6:30.
We didn't know.
Nope, so we're going to head back to where we were earlier today, which was
Hollywood Studios.
Hollywood Studios, and hopefully see some cool neon and ride Tower of Terror.
Yeah, that's the only other ride there that I really care about riding because I'm a Twilight Zone freak. so I have to ride it.
That's where we're going.
So we just got off the bus. We're back at Hollywood Studios, getting ready to go through security again. Josh loves that. I'm so tired. I don't know if I'm even going to ride Tower of Terror tonight. I think our plan tomorrow is to hit Epcot, do everything we want to do there, like that we don't want to leave the park not doing. And then we're probably going to hit up here again, Hollywood Studios, and maybe Animal Kingdom again.
I don't know if we can get in to take it over. Oh no, it's on the other side.
Oh, so we need to go that way. Yeah, so Hollywood Studios is actually, it's closing at 9:30 tonight, which is fine because we haven't even got to test out the pools at the hotel yet. So, and we would like to relax. Our legs are killing us.
Yeah, we might just do 30 minutes here and then head back.
Yeah. My sole purpose of coming back here tonight, right now, is so Josh can get his pictures of all the neon lights and get his popcorn bucket that he wants and go back to the resort.
Okay, can we get a pick our feet up, please?
Look at all that neon. Isn't it amazing? Got some great shots tonight. This made my night. Love it. And I even got a little surprise for Jody.
He did. He got me the Orangeburg Park exclusive Pandora bead because I was wanting a park exclusive bead for my bracelet. So, and I didn't think I was going to get one.
And she got one.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to buy it.
Yeah, I told her I was going to go get a popcorn bucket.
Yeah, he tricked me.
Yep. It's so pretty. I think we're going to head back to the hotel now. It's starting to sprinkle.
Yeah,
We go change. Excuse you.
I don't know what that was.
We're going to go change clothes, get on the Skyliner.
Get on, not in that order.
Yeah, not in that order. And then get in the pool and have a pool night.
Yes, a little bit of rest would do me some good right now.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So yesterday we were going to go swimming, but it started lightning.
Yeah.
And then we came in, I ate and sat down, and I was gone.
Yeah, he was snoring so loud I had to turn the TV up to hear it.
That was the hardest I have slept in a long time. I mean, I was exhausted.
I was pretty tired too, but I know it's like almost the end of our trip, and I finally found out a routine that's working. So now I know for the next time.
Yep. But yeah, we're about to start our next video, so be looking for that next week. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow us,
Yes.
and we'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.